Hello, hello, hello. It is Ranting Raspberry. Welcome to my channel where I will be recapping, reviewing, and most importantly, ranting. We're going to start off recap with The Last of Us Season 1. I did like this show and I could rewatch Season 1. I haven't seen Season 2 yet, but I will be doing a recap of that. Season 1, that was good TV, okay? Very good TV. Great acting, a great twist on a zombie show. I'm not familiar with the game. I've heard great things about it. TV's back. Okay. The story, the acting, and Joel's fine ass. This is a Pedro Pascal stand account, okay? He is, I mean, him and Tommy, honestly. Thank you, HBO. We'll be starting off with episode 1, When You're Lost in the Darkness. So, the intro to the show is set in 1968, and we're told by a scientist who's kind of having a friendly debate with another scientist on air that we have already gone through viral pandemics, and yes, we've lost people, but we've always gone, we've always managed to figure it out. We've always managed to, survive. But a fungal pandemic may just be the worst of it because we've seen what it does to animals. And if the, you know, temperature rises around us, yeah, it is possible that a fungal pandemic can happen. And the other scientist doesn't necessarily agree, but you can see that the scientist that is saying that there will be a fungal pandemic or it is possible and that's what he's scared of, it is, instilling fear in not only the audience, but the host of the show, which was really great acting because you can just tell on his face he's like considering it and he's like, okay, I'm gonna hear him out. I don't like the sound of it. But it was a great introduction, and we know that the scientist was right because we're here now. So then it cuts to September 26, 2003, Joel's birthday. Happy birthday, Joel. But you see that Sarah is actually the one waking Joel up, which I kind of thought was, just a interesting fact. Joel is obviously a single dad, and Sarah and Joel seem to have a really great relationship. Sarah seems like a very sweet girl. She's making her dad breakfast. She's stealing money out of his drawer to get him a gift for his birthday, which was just, fixing a watch that he had that was broken, which is something he probably wouldn't do for himself. So it was a sweet gift, even though she stole the money for it. But you can just tell they have a great relationship. And you see Tommy coming around, and it's really nice to see that she has good role models in her life. I would have liked to know, what happened to the mom. Like I said, I did not play the video games, but it would have been nice to know, like, did the mom pass away? Did they break up? Did she, abandon her child? I would have liked to know, what happened there. But at least she has, her dad, who seems to be a very loving guy, and she has her Uncle Tommy, who seems, they have a playful relationship. But she does seem quite independent. So we are getting a little, little inferences of what is going on. The radio mentions disturbances in Jakarta and just little things throughout the day. The neighbors, as Sarah is going to school, the neighbors do invite her over. And just from what I saw, it kind of seems like they've had a relationship over the years. And honestly, with Joel being a single dad, I wouldn't be surprised if those neighbors have babysat Sarah since they've moved to that house. They seem to have a very friendly relationship, but the neighbors invite Sarah over after school, and Joel's like, go make him happy. Yeah, you're going there after school. As Sarah's in school, she's noticing little things, people fidgeting. When she goes to the jewelry shop to get her dad's watch fixed, the owner's wife is like hurrying her out. You gotta go. You need to go home. Like, there's police, ambulance, sirens going off, and it's starting to add up. Things are going on. So she gets to the neighbor's house, and she's talking about, do you want to make some raisin cookies? Girl, no. No. Who Anyway, if that's your preference, that's your preference, but no. No damn raisin cookies. Damn. But the neighbors have a dog, and that dog's senses are tingling. And when things are happening, you gotta pay attention to the animals because sometimes they're clued in before we necessarily know what's going on. The dog is sensing some things, some weird things going on, and honestly, he's right to sense it because the neighbors are taking care of one of their moms, this older woman, and let's just say she got the fungi. She got something because she is just, you can see in the background of the shot when Sarah is like, kind of looking over something. She actually borrows a movie that Joel would be interested in, but you can see in the back of the shot she's like tweaking out, like she's just like twitching and being weird, and the dog is like, what's going on? But Sarah doesn't notice it. But anyway, Sarah goes home and she's waiting for Joel. Joel doesn't come until like probably it's late, and she's like, you forgot the cake, dude. And Joel, of course he forgot. He's a working dad. He's a single dad. So he's like, you know what? I'll get the cake tomorrow. And they watch the movie, and Sarah ends up falling asleep. But Joel gets a call from Tommy. Why is Tommy in jail? He was saving a woman, but he ends up in jail. And Joel goes and bails him out. But that leaves Sarah to wake up alone. And at this point, it is chaos in the neighborhood. She noticed the stuff earlier, but now it's full blown chaos. She turns on the TV. It's a emergency alert. Houses are burning. She goes to the neighbors to see what's going on because the dog, and like I said, you got to pay attention to the animals. The dog had come to her house, and she went to go return the dog back to the neighbors. And why is Nana, as they call her, the neighbor's mom, why is she eating them? She's all up on them, just chowing. And she's not even chowing, because when you see her, you see like these white tendrils, fungi. You see fungi coming out of her mouth and like moving, and it's just very odd. And when we saw Nana, she was not moving. Like she was just sitting there. She was nothing going on. Honestly, it didn't seem like there was a thought going through her head. But now she's moving. So Sarah bolts out of there because Nana is chasing her. And she ain't never moved like this before. So Sarah's obviously scared. And as she's going back to her house, Joel and Tommy run up on her, and he's no nonsense, and obviously because it's chaos outside, he's like, get in the car. And Nana's chasing after her. Joel kills her. He like I think he hit her with like a tool that he had in his truck. But the look on Sarah's face is like she had never seen her dad in that light before. And I mean, who would expect that, to see your dad kill someone? But she's like obviously very scared, and she's like, you can tell she's like, you killed her, but he doesn't have time for that. And you can tell she's scared and she has questions, and they don't really know how to answer, and they're just trying to kind of reassure her. And she's trying to like justify what she's seen and like come to her own understanding. um and you can tell that Tommy and Joel are scared too, but Joel is like, he has a one track mind, and he's like, we're not stopping for people, we're not doing that. And you can tell it comes off instinctually, like he's protecting not only his daughter but his brother. And you can tell Tommy wants to help, but Joel's not having it. And I can understand like both sides of it. Now is not the time, and we don't know if people are infected. We don't know what's going on. So I do understand, Joel, you got to do what you got to do. So they're ducking and dodging people, but they end up getting into an accident because, like I said, it's chaos. A plane comes down and the parts go through the car, so they end up crashing. Obviously they can't do anything, so they get out the car, and they're separated from Tommy for a second. But and Sarah's injured now. Like, she twisted her ankle or something. She's got a bad leg at this point, so Joel has to carry her, and then they get chased by infected, or these zombies, and they have real jerky, unnatural movements, and they're very, very, very fast. And all I have to say is, if that's happening in my timeline, I don't know if I'll be in it much longer. But let's just focus. Okay, they're chased by this zombie clicker. Thankfully, a soldier kills it, but you can see he's getting orders to kill Joel and Sarah. His captain is telling him, you need to kill him. And Sarah is injured, but Joel is like, we're not injured, we're fine. The soldier had that order. The soldier shoots at Joel, which ends up killing Sarah. Tommy kills the soldier. And obviously, we know that Sarah was, the light of Joel's eyes. Now she's gone. Honestly, just for this to be the intro of the show, It was so good. You fall in love with Sarah like immediately, honestly. And it's just you can tell the chemistry between Joel and her was awesome, and you just feel for Joel when she dies, and it's really tragic. We are now 20 years later in the Boston QZ, which the QZ is referring to the quarantine zone. It's clear people are struggling to survive. We see a kid shuffling his way to what he thinks is safety group of people, but they have to quote unquote humanely kill him, which is understandable because he is infected. It's a hard life out here. You know, the apocalypse ain't easy. That's for sure. We then go back to Joel, and he is disposing of bodies. He has to dispose of the kid that the soldiers previously just down, let's say. And you can see the light in his eyes is gone. He's numb, understandably so. But you know what can he do? He has to work. He has to survive, and it is strict. We are in Fedra zone, okay? And they don't play around. And we see Joel is a little drug dealer. Yeah, a little smuggler, a little tradesman, likes to barter. And he's bartering with a federal officer, and he's selling pills. Okay, Joel. From contract work to selling dope. That's quite a downgrade. And Joel is selling these drugs. He tells the soldier, or the soldier tells Joel, stay off the streets because the fireflies are blowing stuff up. Now, the fireflies are resistance to Fedra, and Fedra is like the like a dictator military type deal. They are very controlling, and honestly, it is what is left, quote unquote, of civilization, at least in the country that we are going through. But yeah, basically, the fireflies are resistance to Fedra. Joel is warned to stay off the streets. People are scared of Joel, and rightfully so, because we saw before Sarah was killed, Joel was not playing, and he will kill you and not think a second about it, especially if he is protecting his family. So we are now introduced to Tess, and Tess is being interrogated, and it looks like she's been beat up for the trade of a car battery that went wrong. But her captors, the people that have her hostage and are like interrogating her, they're more concerned about what Joel is going to do to them than what she's going to do. She's like, well, he follows my orders. So I won't have him do anything. Just let me go. But divine intervention, happens while she's being interrogated, and the building blows up. Lucky for her, she can escape them. But then she gets into the arms of Fedra because they think that she is a firefly, but she ends up escaping them and, is able to get to her man, Joel, which is her man, not her man, but her man, basically. And then we're introduced to Ellie. Ellie is spunky, she's clever, but she is clearly scared because she is being held hostage by the fireflies right now in the corner of a room, no furniture, nothing, just like chained up. Like, y'all couldn't get her anything better, especially if you guys thought she was so special. Why didn't y'all make her accommodations a little bit more hospitable? We see that Joel has lost contact with Tommy for over 3 weeks. It usually doesn't take more than a day for Tommy to respond. Is he in Wyoming? He doesn't know, but that's the last that he's heard from him, is that he was in Wyoming. Going out on unnecessary journeys in this world, it's like you don't know if you're going to be able to come back. So if someone is not in contact with you, is it necessarily smart to like go out and find them? As we know, Joel is a protector, so he's got something in the back of his mind. He's trying to go see his brother, see what's going on. But then we see Joel getting crossfaded. He's trying to get to Tommy, but you're getting drunk and high off pills. That's not gonna help you find Tommy. But okay, Tess comes home, and I just have to say, I know it's the end of the world, and they're doing what they can to survive. Aesthetics are not top of mind, but damn, there's nothing. You can't get some bleach to clean up. Like, it is filthy in this motherfucker. Like, it's gross. Wipe the walls down. Something. You live like this? Oh, but anyway. Joel and Tess need to find the battery. That's what Tess was. This whole thing, why she was beat up, was to get this battery. So Joel and Tess end up finding the battery, which he needs to get in contact with his little brother Tommy. And this ends up being where they find Marlene, who is the leader of the Boston Fireflies. This is also where they end up meeting Ellie. Marlene is not playing with her people. She's like telling them to shut up and follow orders. And she tells Ellie essentially why she's being held hostage, and that she has a greater purpose, and that she needs to go with, with them. She needs to go with the Fireflies and not go back home to Fedra Military School, which is where Marlene ended up putting Ellie when she was born for her own protection. Joel and Tess find Marlene and the Fireflies, who are basically all dead except for Marlene and another woman who got her ears blasted off, or at least one of her ear blasted off. And, like I said, Ellie is silly and she's like a little bit rambunctious, so she doesn't think things through. And you're a fighter girl. She came up on Joel, and Joel just like swatted her ass away like a gnat. Like, why did you think you were gonna run up on this man, like over 6 feet, probably 250 pounds? Why did you think you were just gonna run up on him like that? But he swats her away. And Marlene, who has also been shot and she's badly injured too, she's like, "Oh, Joel, you're very capable. How about you take Ellie? I'll pay you plus some. You'll have a chance of finding Tommy. She's cargo now. You and Tess are taking her." Joel, you can tell, is not fond of Marlene, and he's like, "You turn Tommy against me." But Marlene's like, "No, you take her, please, and we will meet you across the country. But don't mess this up, Joel. Do not mess it up." And you can already tell Joel is just annoyed with her presence. At this point, he doesn't want to be around kids. He doesn't want to be around teenagers at all. He doesn't want to be around anybody that is going to annoy him, period. They figure out a plan and they are going to escape the QZ and take Ellie, take the cargo where it needs to go to complete, this mission that Marlene has got them on. But as they're escaping, guess who they run into? They run into the soldier that Joel was selling pills to. Instead of being cool and just like turning the other way because your drug dealer is trying to escape the QZ, you should have just let that one go. But he doesn't. And he's like, "No, I gotta follow protocol. No, no, no." So he has a scanner to see if people are infected. Joel gets flashbacks and ends up killing him. Like, you can just tell, night of when Sarah died just came back to him, and he beat this man. He beat him dead. And you can tell it was just this look on Ellie's face when he is beating the soldier, and you can tell she's kind of in awe of Joel, but she's also, there's like a fear, like, cool dude, but whoa, like okay. But you can just see something kind of switching her, and she's kind of intrigued. Tess grabs the tool that the soldier used to see if they were infected, and it's by Ellie's, person, and it's red. Ellie is infected. She's like fighting for her life. She's like, "No, no, it's 3 weeks old, I promise." Like, and she shows him the scar she has, the bite, and you can tell it's old. It's not a fresh wound. It's episode 1, and the acting was beyond superb. This was a brilliant pilot episode. It's one of the best pilot episodes I've seen, honestly, ever. It was over an hour long, very engaging from start to finish. It just does so many things well, from just the buildup of the relationship with Joel and Sarah to the start of the relationship with Joel and Ellie. It's just so good. The acting is just, oh, I will not stop talking about Pedro Pascal. And who is the woman that plays Ellie? She is very, very talented as well. Bella Ramsey, yeah. Just their chemistry on screen, and you can tell off screen is it's great as well, but on screen they don't miss. So that is episode 1, When You're Lost in the Darkness. And if you'd like to hear more, please hit that like button and subscribe.